It's time. Hi, I'm Andre with a review for You Better Reviews. Captain America Civil War. I'm gonna give you the good, I'm gonna give you the bad, I'm gonna give you the nerdy. And I'm gonna keep this as spoiler free as I possibly can because I don't want to spoil it, seeing that I did see it so early. I will try my best to give you as little information as possible while giving you as much information as possible, if that's possible. I've been waiting to do this review. I didn't want to do it too early because I didn't want to put too much out there before it gets closer for you seeing the movie. In case you haven't been following, I saw this movie early. I mean, like really early. Regal Movies, who I do Catching Up with Andre with, be sure to check that out on the Regal Movies YouTube channel. They surprised me with a press screening of this movie. And then I went to go to the world premiere of the movie with Comic Cave Studios, which I made a video all about that. So if you want to see my experience at the world premiere, check out the Comic Cave Studios video. I got partnered with Comic Cave Studios because they made collectibles for the characters in the movie. And I work with Regal Cinemas, which deals with all movies. So just putting it out there, you will get the real deal from me like you always do. That being said, I love this movie. Andre, you're a Marvel fanboy. Bing, 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 bing. I loved this movie. Oh my gosh. Now, I will say this. People are gonna obviously compare this movie to another superhero movie that we've gotten recently. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna sit here and go like, they did this better than Batman v Superman. That's not necessary. I don't think every movie that has a superhero in it is the same film. If that's the case, let's compare everything to Big Hero 6 or Blank Man. But getting back to the movie itself, it's good. It is really one of my favorite Marvel movies. The thing I want to pinpoint that I love about this movie is the direction. The Russo brothers are just so good at doing these movies. They did a great job with Winter Soldier. They did a great job with this. I am excited for them to do Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2 because they had a lot of heroes in this. We know that there's a lot of superheroes in this. They found the right amount of time to give every superhero in this movie. Some of them get a lot of screen time because the focus is on them. Some of them just get a couple of glorified cameos. Some of them get some really specific scenes. But everyone feels right with the amount of time that they're here in this movie. No one ever feels like that they were here too long. If you have problems with Age of Ultron, if you were like, that wasn't my Avengers movie, then you got this. I mean, this feels like an Avengers movie. Everybody shines in this, and they do so in a completely different type of story than what Age of Ultron gave us, which is a very similar story to what the first Avengers was. I didn't have any problem with Age of Ultron, but I can definitely say that I feel like I enjoyed this one more as far as the Avengers aspect of it because I feel like it was more about the characters themselves and how they connect with each other and how they feel about the certain plots and points that come up in this movie. And so it just seemed like a good focus on them while at the same time giving them the opportunity to do their action scenes and their fighting scenes that we are used to seeing in these movies. But at the same time, it's a Captain America movie for sure. Like it always comes back to Captain America, or specifically Captain America versus Iron Man, Steve versus Tony, and their conflicting views about certain things in this movie. It always comes back to that. It was able to give you an Avengers-like movie while at the same time being a Captain America movie. Good job. Big thing I like about this movie, there are parts when it's funny, but it's funny when it's supposed to be funny. Like, it's not like it's the Marvel Comedy Hour, we're doing a stand-up act. It's like the jokes were natural things that came from characters, and that's what made it funny. There were some lines that were said that weren't even necessarily jokes, but just the way that they were said or the context of the scene made it funny. And the movie is dramatic when it needs to be dramatic. There's some drama up in this. There are some serious moments, like even to the point where I was like, oh shoot, okay. You get that early on in this movie. Like the first part of this movie is actually pretty drama-filled, more so than it is action and the usual quippy comedy stuff. There's no party scene in this one. There's no, talking about language. It's all serious business. But of course there is action, and the action is great. All the action sequences I love. They're really well done, really well coordinated, and specifically, you probably have heard about that airport scene. And I'm a little upset at Captain America Civil War right now because they've been releasing a lot of clips lately. They had a bunch of stuff on Kimmel. I think there's a new TV spot that shows you know who in it. And I wish they would stop because what I loved about seeing this movie is I didn't know anything about that airport scene. All I knew was the stuff they had in the trailers of just them standing and looking at each other and that one clip where they're running toward each other, but then it stops. So watching it, I was like, this is amazing. And it is really one of the best superhero action sequences I have seen in a long time. Just the amount of characters in it, the way that they're able to coordinate who's fighting who at what time and what kind of stuff we're seeing happening. It's like a comic fanboy, superhero fanboy dream come true. Just to see all of these characters together, it's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I can't believe that enough movies have been made for something like this to happen. And it takes a good chunk of the movie. I think someone who saw the movie when I saw it at one of the screenings clocked it at about 15 to 17 minutes, give or take. It's a good portion of the film. It's an act, or it's a piece of the movie that's very good. Anybody that likes superheroes is going to like that scene. It's just impossible not to. It is so good. Black Panther. You know Black Panther is in this movie. He's great. He's absolutely great. Well done. And what I like about Black Panther, you know how I was saying that the Avengers sometimes throw those little quips out there, those little jokey jokes, those one-liners? Black Panther ain't got time for that shit. That dude is serious. I ain't got time for your little jokey jokes, Avengers. I don't go see stand-up, you know? There's even times when Avengers are trying to throw quips at him and he's just like, no, I don't do that. Black Panther comes from a different breed of superhero. We don't roll like that in Wakanda. I like that, actually, because it just provided a different type of character. Like I said, sometimes what happens with some of these movies, and this is any franchise, when something works for one character, then they try to make it every character does that, and then it becomes a thing where we're like, well, no, now it's not special anymore. So I'm glad that they have a character like Black Panther in there. I hope that they keep him like that, because he's really well done, and he is a badass. I mean, he is straight up. When that suit gets on him, get out the way. I'm telling you, man, I cannot wait for his movie. And you know, I was joking about how he keeps beating up on Bucky Barnes in those trailers. Truth. I don't think there's one scene where he and Black Panther are in the same shot without Black Panther just being like, or something. Somehow a body part of Black Panther is gonna smack a body part of Bucky whenever they're in the scene together. That's just gonna happen. Wakanda! There's not a lot of backstory talk. It's literally just like, here's a quick sentence or two to let you know the backstory of this character, moving on. Black Panther is literally just like, here's why Black Panther exists. Next. Great, all right, we're good. Covered. So a certain character is in this movie and he's in the trailer, but I feel like it's not right to talk too much about him because I feel like his essence in general is kind of a spoiler, so I will definitely talk about him more in the spoilers review, but yes, he's great. He is amazing. I really like him. I'll say this, I saw it twice, right? Both times when he was done, applause from the entire audience, just natural applause. I'm so excited now. You know, this is making me even look back at Toby and be like, I don't know, man. I gave you a lot of props. When Andrew came along, I was talking smack about Andrew, saying you all good, but now I'm kind of wondering. Because a lot of people told me that you weren't as good as I was saying you were, Toby. And I was like, nah, man, Toby's the best. And now I'm like, you know what, maybe they were right. I'm just playing. Toby was cool. Andrew was cool. But this. So great action, great fun, great new characters, good stuff. Is there bad in Captain America Civil War? Oh, hey man, you know how I roll. You gotta get the bad too. This movie is long. I think it's the longest Marvel movie that's been made yet. The first half is gonna take a little bit of time. You gotta have that. You gotta have the build. I don't want a 2-hour action movie that's just all action. They're really trying to set up the story, but the thing is, if you've seen the trailers, and even when you see the first scenes in this movie, you get exactly where it's going with this. Drags a little bit at the beginning. It's not to say that the scenes aren't entertaining. They're good scenes, but it's just constantly hitting a similar point. The villains, man, Marvel villains, man, they just can't get them right. They can do so well with these heroes. It's bad because they're getting good actors to play the villains, but it's just the villains themselves aren't as developed as the heroes are with some of these movies, including this one. And when it gets to the reveal of what the villain is doing, that makes sense. And that's impressive. It's just the journey to get there. It's a very convoluted journey to just get to like, oh, okay. Could have probably done this a little simpler. I'm just saying. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to spoil it. We're now kind of getting that part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe where it's really hard to just jump in. There's a lot of things that it does very well in setting up, but there's a lot of little things that happen in this movie where it's like you really have no clue what that would be about unless you saw Winter Soldier or Age of Ultron or any of the other Marvel movies. Of course, the cinematic universe is the reason we got a lot of heroes here in the first place, but it also still kind of gives you a little bit of constraint of what you can and can't do because you know that future movies are coming after this that it has to connect to. It's just a nitpick, but I think it is something that it should be noted is that you probably should watch other movies in this universe before seeing this one because it just might be a couple of things that you'll go, oh, that's important, I guess. You gotta be like Captain. After you watch, you gotta go, I got that reference. And now for the nerdy. You get that Stan Lee cameo, you know it, you look for it. After credit scene, okay, there is a mid-credit scene. The screenings that I went to did not have a after credit scene, like you get all the way to the end, there's something. I am willing to bet that there will be one when the movie comes out. And the reason why is because this is the first time I've ever been able to go to a Marvel press screening. People that have gone to Marvel movie press screenings in the past have told me that a lot of times they will not show the after credit scene in the press screening. They will only show it when the movie is actually released because they don't want the after credit scene to get leaked. I think there's gonna be another after credit scene. It might just be a funny bit. It may be a setup for one of the future movies that's coming out in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I wouldn't be surprised. But as of right now, I did not see one at the end. But we'll find out. I guess we'll find out May 6th. Yes, as you can tell, I really enjoyed this movie. It's a really good, really well done movie. Overall, entertaining movie, and I loved it a lot, and I highly recommend it. Go see Captain America Civil War. You're gonna probably already see it anyway, but I definitely recommend seeing it on the big screen, specifically for the airport action sequence. You will love it. Go see it. Thumbs up this video, and if you're new here, tickle that subscribe button. I make new nerdy videos all week, every week. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Ali 5000. Chain chomp yo.